Hey, what's up, gamers? It's Skelemystyk. In this video, I want to talk about Pokemon evolution and training, and how understanding hidden variables, knowing when and why to upgrade a particular Pokemon, will lead you to some of the biggest, baddest fighters in the gym. Now, at one time or another, and I fit in this group for sure, we have all, either through impatience or inexperience, had a bunch of candies in our hands and was eyeballing a Pokemon that we just could not do without. So without further research or thought, we went in there willy-nilly and evolved that Pokemon, only to find out after, hey, he seems kind of weak. Now, ordinarily this wouldn't be too much of a problem, except for in some cases, where it takes quite a lot of candies to evolve him. And if you make a mistake and get a poor Pokemon, it takes quite a lot of time and effort to try to gather all that together and go again. Now, I want to take a moment right now to say something here, guys. If you're just playing the game to collect Pokemon, to admire what you've caught or hatched, and to show others your collection, and you don't really care anything about battle, then you don't really have any problem. By all means, bless you in your efforts, have fun with the game, go ahead with what you're doing, and enjoy yourself. If, however, you're about battle, about owning gyms, and pretty much being the dominant force wherever you decide to hang your hat, then this video is definitely for you. Now, you may have just caught or hatched a particular type of Pokemon, and it had a huge CP value. Right off the bat, you had stars in your eyes thinking, hey, this is the one. This is going to be my Pokemon forever. And while it's true that a high CP value is important, CP itself is determined by a bunch of hidden variables that will alter it higher or lower. They are base stats, level, and IV, or individual values. I want to go over these in a moment and explain what they do and how they affect your CP, but there are also other behind-the-scenes variables that affect your attack and defense and how effective they are. They are Movesets, the stab bonus, and type versus type, or how effective or ineffective your Pokemon is against other types. Let's go ahead and start with base stats. Excuse me. Let's use as an example our buddy Snorlax up there. Now he has an attack rating of 180, a defense rating of 180, and a big whopping stamina of 320, which is why he's such a big bad boy. He is known and feared throughout the realms, and if you see him in a gym, you might run screaming. And if you have a good one, you're probably just a little bit admired, because Snorlax is a Pokemon to watch out for in most any situation. All Snorlax, whether level 1, level 15, or whatever, have the same base stats, 180, 180, and 320. Each Pokemon type has their own base stats that type adheres to, and that means that all Arcanine have the same base stats. All Lapras have their own base stats. Where this begins changing is in IVs. Each Pokemon, when it is hatched or captured, is assigned IVs. These can be poor, average, excellent, or anywhere in between. They range in value from 0 to 15. A Pokemon that has a 7 in attack, defense, and stamina is considered to be an average, bread and butter, middle of the road Pokemon. If a Pokemon has 0 in each of these ratings, it's considered to be a pretty poor Pokemon that you'll probably transfer somewhere down the line. A Pokemon that has 15s in each of these areas is considered to be superior, or a top IV Pokemon. You're shooting for the best, but in reality, most of the time, you'll land somewhere in the middle of the field there. The difference in attack and defense between a top IV Pokemon and the poorest IV Pokemon is only going to be about 8%. And that means it will do 8% more damage and take 8% less damage. This doesn't seem like a lot, and really, by itself, it isn't. But once you get into battles where various movesets and Poketypes come into play, it starts making more of a difference. All these little numbers add up into bigger numbers, and it starts becoming more and more important as you progress. Another factor in CP is level. Let's use this level 1 Venonat as the example this time. A Pokemon, for each power-up that you do, will gain half a level. So it takes 2 power-ups for each level. Once you power it up 4 times or 2 levels, the Stardust cost to power it up any further also goes up by 200. It will continue at the new cost every power-up until level 10. At that time, the cost to power up will jump by 300, and so on. With the Stardust cost increases, I'll show you in the description what they look like. The good news is that for each of these power-ups, you'll get increases in CP, hit points, and attack and defense, also increasing in amounts as you get to higher levels. These individual amounts will vary by Pokemon, but this is generally how it works. The next factor that determines a Pokemon's power is movesets. All Pokemon have 6 possible movesets that they can get, and while this doesn't apply to every Pokemon, what I have noticed from the movesets chart, which again I'll link in the description below, is that it seems you can have one moveset that has a pretty good attack with a top percentage defense. You can have one that has a pretty good defense with a top percentage attack. There are two movesets that seem to be middle ground somewhat, with both pretty good attack and defense, but not by any means the best. At the lowest end, you have one moveset that has a decent attack but poor defense, and one that has a decent defense but poor attack. You are of course shooting for these top movesets, the most desirable ones you can get, with the most that they have that's possible in attack and defense. As if your Pokemon were individualized enough by stat modifiers, and we'll use Snorlax again as our example, the top players have several of the same Pokemon set for different uses. A Snorlax that has, say, Lick and Hyper Beam, because Lick Hyper Beam allows for 100% attack damage. And another Snorlax with Zen Headbutt and Hyper Beam, because it has 100% defense. You're going to put that Pokemon in a gym, and he's going to hold it like a boss for a good long time. Other times, a player will have a Pokemon with a moveset that's taking advantage of the stab or the same type attack bonus, which gives an additional 25% if the attack type matches the Pokemon type. So it's really going to depend on what you want to do. That's why you're shooting for both a high IV and the best possible moveset. Again, one more time, we're going to use Snorlax for our whipping boy. If you have top IVs, and that means 15 all the way, and he has a top moveset, either attack or defense, versus a Snorlax that has 0 for his IVs, who also has the worst possible movesets, between the IV and the moveset, you would have an advantage of 26% in attack and 49% in defense abilities. And that's a big bunch. So you can see where, once you add up all these little things, the small numbers make a big difference in what the performance of your Pokemon is. Now, the order that I do all this in, when I have a Pokemon in mind for evolution or leveling, is I will take whatever Pokemon it is, and I'll use the appraise feature on the Pokemon's page. And I will look for these statements. This is the Mystic statement. This is the Instinct statement. And this is the Valor statement. If your trainer gives you one of these statements on appraise, it means your Pokemon is in the range of 82.2 to 100% of the best of all Pokemon available. And you'll want to go to an IV calculator. Again, I'll link it in the description, which will give you a better idea of what your actual IV is. It may be an 82.2, it may be a 93, and it may even be a 100% Pokemon. I actually managed to catch a Pidgeot in the wild that had 100% perfect IVs. I was shocked. I mean, I don't really use it for anything, but I was pretty happy to know they're really out there. Now, once you have the IVs down and you know how it ranks, evolve it to the final stage you plan to use it in battle with and assess its moveset. First, before you power it up, you'll want to see if it works for you. Before you go and spend all that Stardust and all those candies to raise it. You don't really want to power it up and then evolve it, because it may get a crap moveset that's absolutely no good for you. Alright guys, this is how I go from a Pokemon you just caught and hatched to all the way up to a gym champion. If you guys enjoyed this video, by all means hit that like button, a good hard smash, and as well subscribe and share, because it's going to help me and the channel out. Until next time, this is Skelemystyk reminding you that whatever else you do, always love the game. Peace! Hey, what's up, Mr. Skelemystyk? In this video, I'm going to talk about catching wild Pokemon, why some of them seem to be so hard to get a hold of, what that colored circle in front of you means, and some tips and tricks for putting some of these better Pokemon into your Pokedex.